Let's go, folks. Time for the Gibby Show.
How you doing, baseball fans, and welcome to another edition of the Gibby Show, your weekly podcast covering the game that we all love, Major League Baseball, with one of the game's most beloved personalities, upcoming author, former two-time manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, baseball lifer direct from San Antonio, Texas, none other than Gibby himself, Mr. John Gibbons. John, I just have to ask you a question. If you got the fire under control in your backyard.
Oh man, yes. Wasn't easy though. You know, the guy I called, it took him a while to get there, but we got one coming on today that he would have been there like that.
Yeah, the fireman. You'll be hearing more about that later in the show, but John was on Twitter and he was promoting this episode because we got a great guest that John is once again brought an elite baseball personality on the show. So he was promoting that on Twitter and, it got a little hot.
Got a little hot. It was a barn burner, like you said. That's the...
You like that phrase. Yeah, it says it's going to be a barn burner today.
Oh, especially for a guy living in Nashville, it's perfect.
Yeah, there you go. It was. I can't wait for it, actually. Today we're going to cover the crowning of the 2022 World Series champions, the Houston Astros, who were victorious against Philadelphia Phillies in the Fall Classic, beating them 4-2. Dusty Baker, we're going to go over his first world title. We also have the latest news on the Blue Jays and some interesting stuff that Vladdy Jr. has said this week, and congratulating him on an award he received. So we'll go into that. And then we were going to talk about the free agent season coming up. But in the Gabbing with Gibby segment, John, there is a big one. You've done it again, as I said. We bring on the Toronto Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. Good get.
Homegrown.
Yes, indeed.
I can't believe he's not out playing hockey right now. I can't believe he has time to come on the show. He's usually slapping that puck somewhere, isn't he?
Well,
or eating chicken or something.
Yeah, eating chicken, slapping the puck around. But what a season he had, and what a young guy still. And just the closer for the Blue Jays will be joining us for the Gabbing with Gibby segment. We also have your questions as well in the Ask Gibby segment, brought to you by Budweiser. And those questions we discuss on the air here will receive a gift package from Budweiser because that's what buds do. But John, let's go to the leadoff. The World Series is now over, and the Houston Astros, for the second time in 6 years, are the world champions of baseball, beating the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 6 of the Fall Classic, winning 4-1 this past Saturday night. So you picked it, John. You said the Astros, I said the Phillies, and congratulations on picking the winner of the series this year.
Well, Johnny, I don't know if that's really going out on a limb, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to go that far. Yeah.
They're clearly the best team in the American League,
Yes.
And they proved that. The Phillies, what a tremendous story, and a great team too now. But the way they got in, they knocked out, the Braves, and the Dodgers were eliminated, and they came to the top. But I think Houston was just a buzzsaw this year for them. I mean, I think most people had seen them play a little bit, not to the extent where you get to see their whole pitching staff, But a key thing too was, Altuve came to life. He'd been taking some heat all postseason. He came back to life, and Alvarez, doing
Alvarez.
his thing. So,
it was really what a blast he had. The Astros. Led by the 3-run blast by Alvarez in the 6th inning, gave the Astros a 3-1 lead at the time. After Kyle Schwarber, who also had a phenomenal postseason and a great regular season, homered in the top of the inning. Later in the inning, Alex Bergman scored on a Christian Vasquez single. All the scoring of the game for Game 6 was done after that. The Astros never looked back. But there's a big question, John. I mean, Rob Thompson removing Zach Wheeler in the 6th inning. He gave up a little, hit by pitch, seeing eye single, a fielder's choice. Wheeler was doing well, and then the move was made. Get your thoughts
Hey,
on
number
that.
one, hey, you're still crying. He's not a Met, but so I'm
I am. I
I'm
am.
eliminate you from there. Okay,
I will
but
always. It'll always pain my heart.
you know what, Johnny? Yeah, it was people. The beauty of baseball, you can dissect every move, right? And but I think what surprised me because that's kind of not the way Topps was doing things. You know, he was kind of letting the pitchers develop and lining things up accordingly, right? How that guy was pitching, and it has worked very well for him. But it's it wasn't like all of a sudden he lost it, right? You know, Schwarber hits a home run, they're up by a run, and Wheeler's kind of rolling along, you know, and the hit by pitch, yeah, good, that's a good smart baseball move by Maldonado. Then the fielder's choice, then just a little CNI, base hit up the middle. I mean, it wasn't like he smoked it, for Pena, the MVPs, right? And then the big boy comes up, and and I think that what made people scratch their heads is, Wheeler hadn't thrown a lot of pitches,
No.
and he's still going on adrenaline, so he's got to be strong. It's his last game of the year. He can throw 100, he can throw 200 pitches. He has to. He's not coming back for another outing, right? And then bringing in a lefty to fade out Alvarez, and the guy's been struggling a little bit too. And he came in the other night, faced him. Remember, he hit him with the first pitch. He came in with bases loaded, and now, of course, this is two guys on. So never an easy situation. We talked about that with the Blue Jays when Gosman was taken out, right? That's never an easy situation. So me personally, I didn't think Wheeler, I thought, had something left, but it's easy for me to say that. But it was costly, and I mean, it's not much different than you look back when the Rays and the Dodgers in the World Series, when Snell got yanked, after he was rolling along. That's kind of the beauty of baseball. We'll never know, will we?
You just analyze it for the rest of the season, of course. I know the Phillies fans will, the media will, and everyone will. But
hey, maybe analytics got him. Maybe analytics got another guy.
Could have been analytics for sure.
I don't know.
But I tell you, one guy that you gotta, the feel good story of this whole series is Dusty Baker. I mean, 55 years in the game, 25 seasons as a manager. Johnny B. Baker Jr., the guy that everybody calls Dusty, now has his World Series championship. The oldest manager to win a World Series at 73 years old. What a great feel-good story for Dusty.
Yeah, it really is. You look at his contribution to the game of baseball versus a player, and then he's been an ambassador, and then he got into managing and had some really good teams. Got to the edge. It wasn't able to get over the hump, but that's not all on Dusty, And then he got a chance to come back with Houston here, a really good team. And you know what? It couldn't happen to a better guy. And right. it's kind of now it's gonna be interesting to see what he does. If I'm that age and I win, I'm going out on top. I'm shutting her down. But he may want to come back. You never know.
Well, interesting that you say that, John, because two comments that stand out for me after the game in the postseason, coverage on Fox. He was asked what's next, and he said, "Well, now that I got one, I want to win another one." And so, I mean, that was kind of cool. Then on the field, he had a little bit of a different answer when he was asked by Kevin Burkhardt, and Dusty simply said, "What's next? Party." And so that was kind of cool. But his contract is up at the end of the season. There are questions whether or not he's going to return for his fourth season with the Astros. And, he did bring stability back when he was hired in 2020 after the scandals. What do you think? Any gut feeling on whether he's going to be coming back for another? He cannot be let go because that would be such a bad PR move. If he wants to come back, he should be given the chance.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. I guess if you still have the energy and you want to do it at that age, that's what's surprising. Like you just said, he's the oldest guy to ever win one. I personally, I mean, we all have different opinion on the thing. If I was in those shoes, I'd want to go out on top. And there's next year you come back and think something collapses, right? And remember, I went out on top. A lot of great coaches and managers have done that kind of thing. So we'll see. But he did a tremendous job stabilizing that team after the so-called cheating scandal. And I think it's big for the Astros too, right? Because they were carrying that around their back, that cheating scandal. When there's a lot of other teams out there that maybe weren't going to that extent, but were kind of doing the same type thing. But kind of okay. Well, hey, all right, leave us alone now. We did this fair and square, and which they did.
And a lot of people are saying that they are a modern day dynasty. I mean, when you look at 6 straight ALCS appearances, 4 of the last 6 years in the World Series, now 2 world titles, are the Houston Astros a modern day dynasty, John?
Yes, there's no question about it. Year after year, you can pencil them in. But they're that good. They've got some really good people running the show. The owner, I'll tell you, the owner wants to win. There's something to be said of that, right? It's not just a toy to him. He's got that big Texas ego now, brother. So don't forget that either. Uh,
Yeah.
and
You
you
like
know,
that?
and oh yeah, how could you not like that? It's sports. That's kind of the old Steinbrenner,
Yes.
or Al Davis. It's just win,
Yes.
baby. Even
Yeah.
Jerry Jones up the road, he wants to win, but he's meddling too much. But it's a great story and a great
Great
way to end
story.
a great season.
Great season. And this should solidify the Hall of Fame career for Dusty. So we congratulate him once again. Well, there's some Blue Jays news too, John. Some interesting stuff that happened this week. All really revolving around Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He made news on 2 fronts this week. The first was when he was selected as the American League Gold Glover, and the second was when he commented on whether or not he'd ever play for the New York Yankees. So, first of all, he wins the Gold Glove, first base. He posted a 990 fielding percentage, getting the nod. And it was really impressive that he had transitioned from third base to first base. Um, so, I mean, that was kind of cool that a Blue Jay got the award for Gold Glove. And Another big surprise, though, was Matt Chapman, who everyone thought was going to be the Gold Glove winner uh, for the American League as a third baseman. And he always routinely made hard plays look very easy. So, a big congratulations to Vlad, but a lot of people disappointed about Chapman, John, not getting the Gold Glove at third.
Yeah, and I'm one of them. It's funny when they used to vote on the Gold Glove. I can remember at the end of the season they'd send these ballots around, for the manager, and then I think there's like 4 extra ballots for the coaching staff to fill out, right? And we'd vote, and that's how they'd come up with it, right? And now I don't know. I think they've taken it to a different level and really throwing all the analytics in there. But I think that's one area of analytics where everybody's confused about is defensive rating and things like that because but I think that's heavily used in choosing this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to get with the times a little more. But for Chapman not to win it, I think that's surprising probably for everybody, and because he's a lot like Arenado over there in St. Louis. They're that good, and they're probably going to win one till the end. Until they decide to shut her down, or they're going to be in the conversation. Yeah, I don't understand that one. But tip your hat to Vladdy Jr. because that's one thing he had going against him. When he first came up was he third baseman. What can he play third base? Is he too big to move like that? Right. Same thing they did with Encarnacion. Big Eddie was over there. He wasn't suited necessarily for that because he was so big, right? And so they moved him to first base. And he turned into a pretty darn good first baseman as well. So yeah, but it took a lot. I know Vladdy worked really hard at that. It's good to see him rewarded. I don't think he wants to close off the New York Yankees. I don't know how many years he
No,
needs
I
till free
mean,
agency.
I don't know if you heard about this or not. I think you did, but although he cannot be a free agent until after the 2025 season, and while it remains to be seen if he will stay in Toronto, everyone certainly hopes he has a long career in Toronto. It is apparent he will not be wearing the Yankee pinstripes anytime soon. During a recent interview, he said he would never sign with the Yankees. And here's a quote: "I like to play in New York. I like to kill the Yankees. I would never sign with the Yankees, not even when I'm dead."
Well, and
I
you
mean,
could just see it. You could just see his agent going, "Oh
can you
gosh."
imagine? I know. A lot of people are
Maybe.
getting a kick out of it, except for obviously Yankee fans. When he shows up next year, I'm sure he'll be warmly received by the Bronx faithful there.
Oh yeah. Well, I think he always plays really good there at Yankee Stadium. If I'm not mistaken. So you
Yeah.
know what? I'm sure he was having a little fun with that. But you never want
Yes.
to close it. He may not ever. He may never want to play there, but he could. There's nothing wrong with using that Yankee leverage, man, to drive up your own contract somewhere else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, I mean, the free agent season is about started, and the Mets, less than 24 hours after the World Series, they made the first big move, and they signed their closer, Edwin Diaz, for 5 years, 105 mil with a 6-year option, an opt out for Diaz after 3 years. A no trade was built into it, so it is the biggest. It is the biggest deal for a closer in the history of baseball, surpassing Aroldis Chapman's $86 million deal over 5 years with the Yankees. But Diaz coming off arguably the best season of any reliever in the majors, but we do have one coming up on the show shortly. You had 32 saves, 1.31 ERA with 118 strikeouts in only 62 innings, which was pretty impressive. So anyway, free agent season has begun, John, and the Mets owner Steve Cohen, not afraid to spend the cash, opening up the wallet, making Met fans happy today with signing Diaz to 5 years as the closer.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, he's unbelievable. I think our guy today, he had a better ERA than Diaz has. What's the problem? Is he going to get 100 million?
It was very close. They were very close. He had more
saves
than Diaz. 4 more saves than Diaz.
So it's funny too. Diaz, when of course, when he came over from Seattle a couple years ago, last year's year he struggled, wasn't it? I mean,
he struggled in the first year of the agreement. He was horrible. Met fans hated him, didn't want any part of him. He kind of found his way during that weird season of the pandemic. Typical Met fans. Got a little bit better in 2021, and this year he was lights out. He was lights out. Yeah. He was an attraction with the Timmy trumpets going off, and his entrance, and he was lights out every time. So we're happy that he's with the Mets for 5 more years. But it really has started the first salvo on what's going to be a pretty crazy free agent season. It's really going to be crazy.
And money's just flowing, So there's just never buy that argument that we're losing money, Yeah, he had that Timmy Trump. Yeah, he has that. I think maybe I'll take our guy, man, Romano. I'll take him though. I think we got to start throwing chicken from the stands or something.
There you go.
Chicken guy.
There you go.
That could be his shtick. So
yeah, but anyway, we're going to be covering all the free agents this week. The general manager meeting takes place, and so we'll have more on all of that in the weeks to come. It's going to be a really great off-season. It's going to be a great free agent season because so many guys can be in different uniforms next year. That's going to about wrap up the leadoff, and now it's going to be time for Gabbing with Gibby. Now it's time for another Gabbing with Gibby segment. Today we are happy to bring on the closer for the Toronto Blue Jays, who had 36 saves in 63 appearances in 2022 with an ERA of 2.11. One of the most dynamic closers in the game. We welcome Jordan Romano. Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, guys. Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, doing well. Just down here in Florida. Finished up a little workout at the complex, and now we're here, ready to get into it.
Hey, what is the date today? Does anybody know the date? It's November what?
7th?
November 7th. He's already at the complex working out. You know what?
Look at that.
Most guys used to, or I imagine a lot of them do. They're going to take a couple months off to recoup. Not this guy, man. He's already down there working out, and then he's probably going to go hit the links and grab his fishing pole. I would imagine. But
yeah, finished up the season. Body felt pretty good, So took a couple weeks off, and yeah, that was enough. Like a couple weeks off, not doing much, no routine. Just kind of started to get the itch, So just back in there, and yeah, after I'm done, and hit the links. Do a little fishing, work around the house. It's not too bad.
Hey, Jordy, man, Major League Baseball plays a pretty good gig, and it's a pretty good life. There's no doubt about it. Now, it's not an easy life. Everybody thinks it's all fun and games and it's easy, but there's a lot of pressure that's involved with it. You're under the grind. It takes its toll on you, but it's still a pretty good gig. And then you're not okay. You got to have a good bullpen, right? But you got to have somebody anchoring that bullpen at the end. There's no secret about it. Nobody's going to win without a good closer, and you got to have setup, man. You got to have other guys to get to you, but you got no chance. You got no chance of winning. So I want to tip my hat to you. I had no idea. I don't know when it happened. I know you were. I was gone. I wish I'd been hung around at least a year longer when you got called up. But you were starter in the minor leagues, right?
Yep.
When did you first think? When did they say, hey, we're going to put you in that bullpen, let it rip and turn into this? When you got?
Yeah, so I was in the minor league, started in 14, and I was a starter for pretty much my whole minor league career, and I was all right, go my 6 innings, give a couple runs here and there, whatever. But I just wasn't like throwing that hard. I'd be like 90, 92, maybe pop a 95 here and there. So I was never I guess a huge like prospect as a starter. I was all right, serviceable. And I always wanted to be in the bullpen. Schneider managed me a couple years down there in the minors. And I was like, man, just, I want to go in the bullpen. I want to throw 1 inning. I want to be kind of a late inning guy. And he's like, yeah, but the plan is, from up top, you got to start. So I think it was in 19. I was in Buffalo, playing for the Bisons. And I think I had a 14 ERA as a starter in May. So they're like, hey, maybe we'll, put you to the bullpen. You're not doing too well as a starter. So I went to the bullpen, velocity ticked up a little bit. I just kind of found my groove a little bit more in the bullpen. And then, kind of ended up getting called up in 19. I got shelled in 19 though, when I first got called up. When you get called up, it's kind of a whirlwind, right? So it's kind of tough to handle, but just, just kept at it, kept working, and I feel pretty comfortable back there now.
Well, shoot. I mean, hey, all you got to do is look at the results, right? And I guess what makes this story even that much better, you're one of the good guys, right? You're homegrown. I mean, that's people think that's great too, but that's extra pressure. I'm guarantee everybody's calling for tickets every night too, man. You get sick. That's not easy. You're one of the fair hair boy, and but I'm gonna tell you this because this I don't know if everybody doesn't always agree with this, but I guarantee it's right. There's something different about guys that can close out baseball games. You hear the argument all the time. No, it's anybody can do it. You go closer by committee, and that's such BS. It's proved over and over that guys can't do it because it's not because they don't have the great arms. There's a lot of guys with great arms. It's right here and it's right there. And it's ability to, let things go. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're 100% right, and there is a difference. Like I've done both, right? I've thrown the 6th inning and I've thrown the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium, right? There is a huge difference. And honestly, I think like guys that haven't closed before, like you can be a good closer, right? Like you could, if you're going good, you rattle off like 8 in a row. I think the really tough part is when you blow a couple games, like that's the tough part. Everyone could, close games when you're rolling and feeling good. It's like over the course of the season, you're going to have a lot of tough games. You know what I mean? When you feel like you let the team down, you blew some big games, and like coming back from that, I think that's what makes closing so tough. Everyone could do it when you're going good, but when you're grinding out there and blowing a couple, that's the hard thing. And that's hard to overcome. But again, that just comes with being in the spot, right? I feel like I've gotten pretty good at just going out there and whatever happens. But it's a tough job. And another thing, it's like, I'm from Toronto, right? I've been a Jays fan a long time. So there is that little extra, when I do have a bad game, it's, not just let the team down. It's like my family's watching, my friends are all watching. So it's a little bit more. So it's like, it's really cool doing it, but a little extra pressure as well.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. You don't let anybody down. I know you've said that a few times, but you're an accountable guy. But in reality, does anybody ever go through a season unscathed? No, I don't think. Does it ever happen?
It's part of the job, right? I mean, maybe. Yeah. I think a couple of guys may have done it though, which would be pretty sweet. Just rock solid all year. But I kind of understand that it's part of the game. It happens. Everyone wants to do the best they can, but it's going to be off nights.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell you this right here because I even heard some read some of your comments after the playoffs, right? And first off, it was the most perfectly placed ball. I'm telling you can't do it. I could have gone out there and dropped it. It couldn't have dropped it anybody. It's in that no man's land. I don't care, and I would guarantee you, and Springer was probably playing deeper for no doubles to back it up, to cut off because and so it couldn't have been placed any better. It's the toughest ball for a shortstop to go back. So anyway, but I'm going to tell you this too. It's, you just, gosh, you can make the best. You can have say you take two relievers, right? You say you come and do one game and you make a great pitch just like this, right? You jam the guy up or off the end of the bat and it falls in the perfect spot, right? Okay. They may say, well, he didn't do his job, right? You get another guy that comes in, or you come in a different day, you give up the same situation, you give up a line drive rocket right at somebody out, and they go, what? He did his job. No, well, I mean, he made a better pitch on this one, or he got this, but that's just part of the game,
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the crazy thing about like relieving. There's games where, I give up 3 lasers and it's 1, 2, 3, and it's all cool, we win the game. But there's other games where I'm executing and I'm giving up a couple. And I think that's like the toughest thing to deal with. It's like you could do everything right and it still go wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. And it's even like you could throw a fastball right down the middle. And on Tuesday, the guy hits a home run. Wednesday, the guy pops it up on the infield, so.
Yeah, but the key is, but you know what? You're mentally tough. It's obvious. You can't do those jobs. But there's the game's changed too, and you really see in the playoffs where you guys, the closers, come in for more than one inning, right? It's normally they try to go one inning. You have your middle guy, setup guy, and then you go to your closer. But there's been a number of times that you've been brought, down the stretch. You come in earlier, and you're very good at that. A lot of guys can't do that. It's not, whether it's not part of their routine, they can't get loose, or a lot of them don't want to do it. That's part of the deal too. But in order to have a great team, you're not going to be able to do that your whole career. Otherwise, because if number one, well, physically, you'll be able to do it for a few more years. But if you don't have that other guy that can pitch the 8th inning. And so you don't have to bail them out every time. Your team ain't very good anyway. It's not gonna hold up,
Yeah, I think the toughest thing is with going like 5-out saves or something like that. It's not going in the 8th inning. Going in the 8th inning, a couple of guys on, whatever. Say you get out of it. It's that when you go back in the dugout, you can't let your foot off the gas. You still, like, the biggest part of the game's coming up, bottom 9. So that's the toughest thing. Like sitting there while your team's hitting and like just really trying to stay locked in, because what you just did the past couple hitters, it does not matter. The biggest part of the game's coming up. Right. So that, like, staying locked in for those 15 minutes is an absolute grind. Like, I've done it. I think I did it like 5 or 6 times this year, and those are tough, but they feel pretty good when you complete them. It's like, 5 outs.
Well, I think you nailed them all, though. I think you nailed them all. But plus, what, you're sitting there, you're cooling off a little bit too. Your adrenaline's high because the game's decided in the 8th inning. You get through that. Now there's a natural, and you're cooling off in your body, and you got to crank it up. So I guess we're just trying to salute you. Let everybody know how difficult this stuff is. You're making it look easy, but it ain't that freaking easy. I will guarantee you that.
Appreciate
what
that.
Do you got, Johnny?
Yeah, I got a few things here. I mean, just to kind of talk about the end of the season, the way it ended for the Jays and losing to the Seattle Mariners. It was a great season, ended in disappointment. But what was your takeaway from this entire season? If you look at it as one entire season, what's your takeaway from it?
I guess the whole entire season, I guess for myself as well, it's like, we were a really talented team. It's like when we played our best ball, I think we were the best team in the league, but there was just a lot of, I guess, like ups and downs. You know what I mean? There was a lot of, 8-game winning streaks, and then we go, 1-7, like stuff like that. And I know, like, at the end of the year, it was like a good, productive season, but yeah, there's just a lot of ups and downs, especially early. And that might come with, I don't know, just I guess we are maybe a more inexperienced team, I guess I would say. I think as guys get older, more comfortable, more experienced in the league, I hope that changes. But yeah, it was a good year. Tough the way it ended. It's like you grind all year, And it's like, that was my first time in the playoffs. Right. And it's like, wow, grinded all year. And then it happens like that. That was kind of tough, but it was good. In the playoffs, all the guys got playoff experience. So it's a good thing to build on.
Well, it's a good experience. And, with the season the way it is, you got a good core group of guys. Most of them will be brought, obviously coming back next year. You have that playoff taste now. You know what it's like. So 2023, it's like onward and upward, Yeah,
a lot of expectations. You know what I mean? We had some last year, and I think coming into 2023, I think it's rightfully so. We have big expectations. We got all the guys in the locker room there. So yeah, we need a big year.
Yeah. Now the deal.
Good. Bottom line, they're good, man. You guys are talented top to bottom. And what you think of this? What you think of the postseason, especially the series? Because you played those teams, and anything stick out to you, or just some great baseball to watch?
Yeah, you know what? Like at the end there, Phillies got pretty hot, and it's like you're always looking at the team, and it's like, man, this lineup is pretty deadly, and they just got hot at the right time. And I feel like that's for a lot of teams. It's like you just kind of got to play right at the right times. During the course of the year, for a month, you could be the best team in the league, and you just got to do that at the end. That's
right. Well, you remember the year before, Atlanta Braves, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Employer. They were up. I think it was up until August. They were like a couple games below 500. Then, and Alex Anthopoulos, he drafted you. I think he was still there when you got drafted. Yeah, but he he was wheeling and dealing. He likes to wheel and deal, Yeah. And then all of a sudden, just things clicked, right? Whether it was chemistry or they came together, and they were the hottest team, and they ran the table, So
yeah, and they won the World Series, and we faced them 6 times last year, and we beat them all 6 times.
Yeah,
so we're like, it's just like you got to get hot at the right time.
And you know what else makes it tough, Jordan? And I don't care what they say, there's no division like the American League East, and there's just something about it. Johnny's a big Met guy, right? He's yeah, right. Okay, because the last 2 reps in the National League were from the East, the National League East. But there's just something about going to Yankee Stadium 18 times, the Red Sox. You guys own the Red Sox, man. But there's just something. And then you got Tampa, and Baltimore's on the upswing. There's just it's not only just the competition. Those teams are every year they're forced by their fan base to improve, right? Plus, there's a tough ballparks to play in, man. It's just there's just something about it, and it wears on you. Thank God they're going to a more balanced schedule next year.
Yeah, right? Yeah. When I heard that, I wasn't too mad about that. The AL East, it's no joke. Yeah, especially going into Fenway, Yankee Stadium. I mean, Baltimore had an amazing team this year, and playing at the Trop. I don't know, Gibby, what the players when you were Magic were saying, but it's kind of like a weird place to play. You go in there, the white roof, and they're really good. Their defense is good. I guess they're used to it, but it's definitely like a weird place to play. There's like an aura in it. It's not Yankee Stadium or Fenway, but it's pretty unique.
Oh, hey, weird things happen, man. It ain't just
exactly. Yeah, weird stuff happens at the Trop.
The baseball guys are going,
Yeah. We actually took, like sage. We burned sage in the locker room this year because just weird stuff was happening. We wanted to get the juju out of there.
Did it work?
It worked. Yeah, we won a couple games there, but I think it was like we dropped the first 2, and we're like, guys, something's got to give here. So yeah, we went around the locker room. We burned some sage and tried to get like the spirits out of there.
Oh gosh, that's beautiful, man. All right, well, you know what? Hey, I got to ask you a question. You went to Oral Roberts, huh, in Oklahoma? Yep. Let me tell you something. I got recruited by Oral Roberts when I was in high school.
Really?
I couldn't because of my grades. But they recruited me for baseball. So are you a smart guy too?
No, I mean, that's relative, right? I had to go to JUCO first. My grades weren't good either, so I went to JUCO, kind of, got good grades there, and then I could go to Oral Roberts. So in high school, I kind of slacked off a little bit.
I know better than that, man. First of all, I talked to Pete Walker. Pete and I are pretty close. We coach together. Pete raves about you. He said, Jordan's got an incredible. He prepares himself incredible. What he does pregame, and then when he's. I used to find there's when I was managing there, in the bullpen, there's certain guys they have to learn how to or that you have to tell them, hey, hey, this might be your time of the game. You might want to think about getting loose or getting whatever you got to do to prepare yourself at this stage of the game, right? But Pete says, I mean, you're relentless in your preparation and the discipline is incredible.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's what I think, has helped me like grow the most the past couple of years. It's like my routine. I mean, I'm down to the minute in the stuff I'm doing. Like before I throwing, I have my own program, and then like even 2 hours before the game, it's like it's all laid out. So basically, by the sixth inning on, it's like the joking's kind of over. Like getting locked in. So pretty much like the sixth to the ninth, I am ready to go. And it's like, yeah, I know I'm mostly throwing the ninth, but it's like my body, my mind, we're prepared to go. Yeah, it could be seventh, eighth, ninth. I knew I was throwing the ninth, but I just wanted to never be caught off guard. Even the days it's like, yeah, we might stay away from you today. You've thrown a lot. It's like, I would never let myself be caught off guard. So that was one thing I was proud of. I was like, every day I came to the field, I was prepped, I was ready to go, I was locked in. So, and that's like half the battle, right? That's mostly what you can control. So yeah, I was happy with, just the preparation part of it, but that's growing every year too, finding what works, what doesn't, what helps, what doesn't. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, go ahead, Jay.
And the off season really just started, and you've already started preparing for 2023. I mean, everyone really just was able to leave. The season's over. Tell us about your typical off season. And it seems like you've already started preparing for next year.
Yeah. So like years in the past, especially in the minor leagues, I would take probably 2 months off throwing. And now I kind of know that doesn't really work for me. I'll take like 10 days off, kind of relax, enjoy, and then start getting back into throwing. And then probably 10 days after that, start getting back into the workouts. So, the Jays have been really good. I talk with Pete, I talk with Bushman, our bullpen coach, and we kind of just build a plan together and go through the off season. But it's a little more relaxed, right? You go work out, you throw, and then you come hang out. You could do whatever you want to do. So yeah, the off season's it's pretty nice. It's it's chill. Like over the weekend, I planted some trees in my backyard. Just relax.
For crying out loud, you can't hire anybody to do that.
No, man, it's like therapeutic. I planted like some
therapeutic till you wrench your back, or you hit your finger with your shovel or something like that.
No, this body's built to work, man. We know how to work a shovel. Come on.
No, you're a Canadian, man. You do work. I'm gonna tell you this right now. You obviously you caught wind of Diaz's contract, right, with the Mets.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay away from
$105 million.
Let's hire somebody. I'll come down there. If you make me your agent, I'll come down there and dig them holes for you.
Give me a good rate. What's the rate? What's the rate an hour for you to come down?
Well, it depends, man. Depends on where you're at, brother. Okay. Hey, tell me who's your boy in the bullpen? I think I know, but I want you.
Oh man, in the pen, my
left hand.
Like Phelps this year. Phelps was like he was like the kind of like the commander, like the vet. But yeah, me and Timmy Meza, we're pretty tight. Me and Timmy.
I heard that.
Yeah, like honestly, the whole day we just go like back and forth, just chirping one another. But yeah, he's a cool dude, man. That's another guy. It's like we're really good friends, and I think we just have a lot of respect for each other. Like Tim, man, he does everything to the T. Like he's always like planned out, regimented. And it's me on the other hand, it's like, we'll have like a bullpen dinner, and sometimes I'll arrange it and I'll tell the boys the day before. Like Tim wants 4 months in advance notice. He wants, what we're doing. So we're really different that way. So we'll bicker about that, but no, man, he's a solid dude.
Who's
really
paying for that dinner anyway? Does one guy pick up Phelps? Who's been around the longest down there in that bullpen of yours?
Phelps. Yeah, Phelps. He's been around the longest. But
picking up the tab.
I picked up the tab on the last one. I was like, all right, boys.
102 mil, man. 102 mil. Diaz got, and you should pick it up.
102 mil over 5 years. Yeah.
That's coming. Hey, let me tell you, Timmy. Timmy's beautiful because Timmy, he was there amazing when I was there, right? And he was just he was just going through the typical. You make it to the big leagues, the ups and downs of getting sent back down, and he had dynamite arm, and he was just learning how to pitch still. And one of the most wonderful people I know, Timmy. But it's funny. He when he first started out, it was a confidence thing too, I think, with Tim. But he'd be out there pitching, right? And he maybe after a couple pitches, he like look in the dugout or after a hitter go. Finally, I had to tell him a couple times. I said, Timmy, I called him in the office. I said, dude, don't be looking at that dugout, man. I'm thinking you want me to take you out or something, for crying out loud. You'll know if we come out there, walk out there and take you out, you're out. But don't be looking over there because it's telling me.
Oh man. Hey Gibby, was Timmy the only guy that's still on the team when you were managing? That was 18, right? The last year?
Yeah, no, Teoscar,
yeah.
Gary L.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not many, but yeah, it was some good ones. They were all kind of, learning the ropes. They were all trying to making their way and getting started, but some good ones. But I'm telling you, you got a good team, and but naturally all teams, they're going to look at it and go, we really got to try to strengthen our bullpen. That doesn't mean that's nothing against your bullpen, but that's what the teams do, especially when you look at like Houston's bullpen. It's like, gosh, dogging. They
have some dogs down there, man.
Oh God. I'd heard about it, but when I was watching the series, it's like, dang, man,
Yeah.
But you said earlier about, as a starter, and it naturally, when they make you reliever and you go one inning, let's say, or 1+, your velocity kicks up. Is that, I mean, because you just jump pretty good on you, huh?
Yeah. The thing with me, it was always like a running joke. So like I've thrown, when I was a starter, I'd throw a pitch 88 and then finish the guy off with 98. It's just, I couldn't sustain it for 6 innings. Like I could rear back and kind of like let it rip and throw pretty hard, but I just couldn't throw like that for, 100 pitches. But when now I only have to throw 20 pitches, I could just, let them rip for 20. And so slider picked up, heater picked up. I don't know if that's the same for everyone. Usually guys get a tick or two, but for me, it was like 5 miles an hour. So it was a pretty dramatic jump.
Hey, did you say a minute ago for 100 pitches, when's the last time you let anybody throw 100 pitches? You kidding me?
Yeah, now they're throwing a lot of guys throwing, 4 innings,
And I'm going to say something here. And I don't want a response from you because you're a bullpen guy, but I know analytics is big and there's a lot of value to it, and it's helped the game in a lot of ways. But my thinking is, I watch these, some of these games, right? They'll yank a starter, and he might, there's a question whether he's still effective or not, right? And I always thinking, I got those guys down the bullpen are going, oh gosh, we got a lead or something? Can he try to get another inning at him so maybe we get a night off down here? So I don't, the bullpens nowadays, I don't know. You almost like you need to go to 20-man bullpens just because bullpen guys get abused, and they wonder why they burn out late in the year.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's like, we see the starter at like 75 pitches through 5.
He's doing okay.
We're like, please, just one more. Just give us one more, And I mean, the guys on our team were great. We had some dogs in there. They just threw, you know what I mean? Like Manoah, Barrios, Cosman, all those guys, they threw a lot of innings. So they, really helped us out there. So, we weren't really overworked, but there's a lot of teams, starter goes 4, bullpen comes in. And you could do that for, a couple of weeks, and then the bullpen, you're getting a little sore, getting a little tired. So yeah, it's a give and take, right? If you're doing that, the bullpen's going to get worn out quicker.
That's right. Yeah, 10 years from now, you're still pitching. You're going to be going, hey, wait a minute, guys. You're going to go into that managing office and say, hey, could you let that starter, plus the owner just paid him $100 million. Can you let him go another inning just in case? So I could see
another 30 pitches, no problem. Give the boys down here a break. No, that's funny you said that, because in the bullpen, that's all the time. We're like, oh, just the boys are grinding. Please go 6. Like the boys are tired. Go 6.
Then go 7. You got to leave. No, but because the bullpen guys, they end up wearing it. That's just Now when you get into like your late inning guys, like you and the guys, that Bass or whoever's going before you, what have you, you get protected a little bit more. And you're supposed to, because you're the go-to guys with the lead. But it's those poor dudes in the middle, man, or the longer guy. They're going, oh god, because then you know what? Then they come in, they throw 3 innings, they go, I'm going to AAA, man. It's out of. It's like, better come down with that sore arm so I don't have to get sent down.
Yeah, and it's like inevitable, like sometimes it
Yeah.
sucks. It's like you could throw 3 innings, you could punch out 9 guys in a row, and it does not matter. It's like
No, you need a body.
Next day, Oh,
you need a body because that starter's only going 5 innings the next day automatically.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in that spot too. I think every like bullpen guy, you're in that spot until you kind of work your way out of that spot. But being in that spot absolutely sucks because you know what's happening after the game. It does not matter. You got the express down to AAA. So, but I mean,
hey, we had this one real quick story, and then I'm going to ask you about your acting career, right?
Oh man,
I'm trying to think what year it was. This was around 14 or 2014, whatever. God, I can't even remember his name, but he came in and pitched. We went like 15, 16 innings, and he threw like 5 or 6 innings, right?
Jeez.
Out of the bullpen. It was dynamite. We ended up winning the game. But after the game, we're flying to Seattle, right, from Toronto.
Yeah.
And so we know we're going to need a body, and now you're going out the West Coast, and it's tough to get guys back and forth. And in Anthopoulos, Alex came in, and we said, we need a body. I said, okay, I know that. Make the plans. I said, don't send, you cannot, no way you can send this guy down today. I said, let him go. We got to fly him with us out to Seattle, keep him a day or something, take him off the active roster, make him fly back, make that his punishment. But it's like, you can't do, you feel bad doing it, but the manager, but you got to do it. So he lasted one more day, and then he had to fly all the way back from Seattle to Buffalo.
Well, that's nice. One more day. It kind of eases the blow, like you don't have to go right away. You got to hang with the boys for one more day.
Yeah, exactly. It's one more day of pension.
Yeah, that's right. One more day pay, one more day pension. Oh,
that's right. All right, tell us about your acting career, Johnny. What do you got on this guy? He's not like just a good baseball player.
Well, I mean, he's certainly getting into kind of being a spokesperson a little bit, and we were able to check out a spot that you did for Mary Brown's Chicken. So we're going to play that, and then we'll follow up with another question. So here's the Mary Brown's Chicken spot with Jordan.
Let me get,
Check the offers on the Mary Brown's app so you can say big, like me.
Nice save, Romano.
Are you ready to save like Romano? Look for MB exclusive offers on our app for amazing deals.
There you go. How did you put that together?
Yeah.
How did you put that together? I mean, how was?
Yeah. So like, honestly, I never thought I'd be on a commercial in my life. Never acted a day in my life. But the Jays are like, hey, there's a thing. Mary Brown's. Have you heard of them? I was like, oh yeah. I love their chicken. They're like, oh, they want to do a little commercial with you. I was like, ooh. Like the thing with that is like, I love to do it, but another thing is like you're putting yourself out there. All your buddies are seeing that you're going to be joking around and stuff. But yeah, we kind of got together, and it was we did the shoot a day before or the morning before a game. It took 4 hours, and 4 hours. It was kind of a grind, but it was pretty fun. And I realized the less you put into it, the more takes it was going to do. Like the longer you're going to be there. Right. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So that is the best acting I can do. I gave it.
That is good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but like seeing yourself on TV, like the commercials and stuff, it's a lot. It was fun though.
It's not many guys that I can remember even had commercials, but I'm telling you, saying you're putting yourself out there. Just don't let your boys see eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, whatever you do.
Yeah, we had on the plane, we had like Church's Chicken.
No.
I was like, get some
Mike Shaw
in here.
What's Mike Shaw doing, man? He's going to get fired for that.
I said we need some Big Marys up here. Can't be having Churches.
Hey, Jordan, who's the better actor, you or Gibby? Because Gibby is now on social media, and he's always doing these little vignettes and these little messages, and he was promoting your appearance here on the podcast and almost set his house ablaze. So why don't we take a look at his promo announcement for you coming on the show?
Where's Jordan Romano when you need him, for crying out loud? We got a fire here. Something's burning down. What the heck? Hey. I know where Jordan Romano is. He's going to be on our show Monday. Don't miss it. He's probably out putting out fires right now. One of the best closers in Major League Baseball. We're honored to have him.
Gibby, man, I think you got me. That's pretty good.
No, we're going to put it out there. We're going to put it out to people that watch the show to vote on it.
Oh,
Do a
okay.
poll. Yeah.
You got, hey, you know what? This show's big in the Canada area. You got a little edge on me now because you're Canadian.
Yeah,
boy.
I do. I do got the country with me. Hopefully they're on my side.
They're probably wondering though, what the heck's he doing? He moved down to Florida, for crying out loud, of all places, Florida.
I think
Snowbird, you're a snowbird.
anyone that's grown up in Canada and felt those winters, they'll be like, I kind of understand.
Hey, let me ask you, do you ever go to the Lightning games, Tampa Bay Lightning games?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do sometimes. I'll go to a game or two, but I'm still a big Leafs fan. Leafs are
Oh, that's right. Well, I bet you go see when the Leafs play down there.
Yeah, I went to a game. I think it was like 19 before everything shut down. The Leafs came down and we were up 3-0 in the third, and I started chirping everyone. I had my Leafs jersey on. I started chirping everyone, and Tampa came back 4-3 in OT. So it was a tough night, but it was a fun game.
Well, I would expect you can get some free tickets by now, can't you?
Well, hey, I'll tell you a little story here. Okay, so this is why I had to pick up the bullpen dinner at the end of the year. Well, kind of. So we wanted to, like, the bullpen, we wanted to go to a Leafs game, right? So I call up, be like, hey, this is Romano. Like, the bullpen really wants to go to a game. Like, we give your guys tickets. Can you hook the boys up? And they're like, how many you need? And I was like, 12. Like, we got 12 guys, bullpen catchers. And they were like, all right, yeah, we'll get you the tickets. It'll be $3,000. I'm like, $3,000? I was like, oh man, like, no, like, thanks, but no thanks. And then we find out that same game, they gave Chapman tickets front row on the glass, and they didn't give the bullpen tickets. So, and then the next day I have an interview, and I was saying, like, yeah, guys, like, it's kind of joking, but I was like, the Leafs, they slighted us. I'm not a Leafs fan anymore, just joking around. And the next day I have an interview and I'm praising the Leafs. So the bullpen's like, oh, you go off praising the Leafs and they didn't give us tickets. Like, what's going on? So I was like, guys, don't worry, I'll make it right. So that's why I had to pick up the bullpen dinner at the end of the year.
Hey, for crying out loud, where's Chapman from? Where's his home?
Cali. He's from California. They give him the best seats in the house. The bullpen wants to go. We got to pay $3,000.
I tell you what, that is. Oh God! What? Well, you know what? If that ever happens again, something's wrong. Well, yeah, you can never get Leaf tickets. Even when I was back there, you try and it was like no chance.
Yeah, it's a hot ticket, man. They sell out pretty much every game.
How they playing? They playing all right?
Yeah, they're playing pretty good this year. I mean, they're good every year.
Yeah.
Got to take it home one year, but yeah, no, they're.
Well, did you ever play hockey? That's what I got. Were you a hockey player?
Yeah, I played hockey. Yeah, I played hockey until I was like 17. And then it was kind of just like, you got to pick one, because like baseball, you got to start training in the winter in Canada if you want to go anywhere. So I was like 16, and I knew at 17, it would be like the year where I have to decide which one I want to do. And I just like baseball a little bit better. Hockey, you got to wake up, scrape the frost off your car and go before school and, bag skate and sweat. And baseball, you're in the summer, with your boys, it's a little more fun. So yeah, like 16, I just decided to play baseball, and I just played like hockey with my buddies. I was playing serious hockey, and then that year I just played like for fun, So, but yeah, I played.
Well, I guarantee you that's where you got that heart, man, and right here that toughness. I will guarantee you that's a big part of that.
No, hockey, it's a different beast. Like that's a grinder sport, and I was like smaller growing up, and I would just get beat up every single game, but just got to grind.
How tall are you now?
I'm 6'5", but when I was playing,
when you're a kid. Who's the dude that played all them years for the Bruins? He's like
Chara.
Chara, man. How tall is Chara?
He's like 6'9". He's a beast.
6'9"? Gosh, no. You ought to be in the NBA. You ought to be playing for the Raptors.
Yeah, you mess with you on the ice and you mess around, Char's coming for you, you know? So it's
Yeah,
kinda,
yes, I would.
but I was small. Like if I messed around on the ice, their boys were coming for me and they had their way.
Hey, what a great sport, though, Jordan. I'm telling you, from but there's I will guarantee you got your toughness from that sport. No doubt in my mind.
Honestly, I think so. Like hockey is an absolute grind. I mean, these little dudes, they're fighting, in Canada especially too. I mean, I had an ice rink in my backyard. I was skating as soon as I could walk. And then we start in Canada. I mean, you can start body checking at like 7 years old. So you're just laying boys out at 7 years old, So it's just kind of a way of life.
Oh God! Now you get baseball. You get guys get a little hangnail sometimes and they can't play.
You
don't need to comment on this one either. Scheduled days off. Are you kidding me? Guys get scheduled. And you tell that to the guys in the NHL. They get scheduled days off. I know they don't play every day, but by God, they play enough.
I think that's the only sport where if you get a scheduled day off in the NHL, all your boys are looking at you different. Like
you probably got a broken leg.
I mean, at the end, whoever wins the Stanley Cup, I mean, the next day, all the boys are going in for surgery. You just got to grind.
That's awesome. Well, Jordan, listen, man. Hey, we're glad you took the time to come out with us. Come on with us, and we're proud of you. I know that you're off to a tremendous start in your career. I think even the better story, you're pitching for your hometown team, and they love you up there. Even when I said that you were coming on the show, the people were up. Oh, it's like that's the greatest thing ever. And I agree, man. I knew what kind of good guy you were, and I get everything I've heard. So, but we want to wish you the best of luck. Now, I don't know. I'm sure you have an agent, but if you don't, $102 million, I might be able to top that for you in a couple of years.
Yeah, we can get 50% of that or something, right?
Well, yeah, you deserve every bit you get, pal. That's for sure. So,
all right, hey guys, really appreciate you guys having me on. Had
Thank
a great
you.
time. This was awesome.
Appreciate it.
Good luck, man. Get back to work, for crying out. Quit digging the holes to ditch you. Come on.
Hey, if I wasn't playing baseball, I'd be working a shovel somewhere. So yeah, we'll be all right.
But you are playing baseball.
I'm playing baseball, yeah.
All right, pal.
All right, fellas.
Good luck.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right. Hey, I'll take that Romano any day of the week. And what a great story. A homegrown boy thriving in his home country. We only got one team. You couldn't make that stuff up.
No, you can't. Well, you ready for a few questions? Now it's time for another Ask Gibby segment. Each and every week, we have some questions that are from you, the listeners or viewers of this podcast. This is brought to you by Budweiser. If we select your question here on the podcast, you will receive a gift basket from Budweiser because that's what buds do. The first one is and they actually he said Ask Ginny segment. So should I call you Ginny today?
You call me whatever. Don't just go call me late for dinner.
Anyway, it's from Z Kaufman, and it's the Ask Gibby Show Gmail address. And the question is, hey, John, huge fan of the show and your time with the Jays. I was at quite a few games with you at the helm at the Concrete Convertible in Toronto. I recently read Buck Martinez's book. In it, he says, if you ever get a chance to meet Gibby, ask him his favorite Hondo, Frank Howard, story. I guess this is the closest I'm ever going to get to meeting you for the moment. So, what's your favorite Hondo story?
Oh,
Zach,
gosh. I got so many
London,
of
Ontario.
Hondo, they called him the gentle giant. I think he's about 6'8", right? I think Ted Williams said he hit the ball harder than anybody ever saw. But he coached with the Mets back when I was starting my coaching career over there in the minor leagues. And so I was around him quite a bit. And I would make sure I was around him quite a bit because he could just go on and on with his storytelling, and the funniest guy in the world. But I can remember one time I was walking on one of these backfields. The spring training workout's over, right? And Frank, there was just something different about Frank, right? Not a harder worker around, but I'm walking past his field. Everybody's gone, and I look over on the main diamond, and I see this guy this giant guy in a uniform, full uniform, took a double take. It was Frank. So I said, "What is Frank doing?" I mean, this workout's over. So I sat there and watched him on the bench. There was a bench sitting there, and he went and got in the set in the dugout, right? And he always had this way he stood in the dugout during the game. He was 1 foot up and the other down, and just scouting the whole field, right? Very intense. And so I'm sitting there watching. He gets in that position for about 30 seconds. Then he comes firing out of the dugout, and he had this fast, long-legged walk to first base coaching box because he was the first base coach. So he walked all over his long, like he was a speed walker, right? He gets over the first base coach box, and he gets down in his stance, like he's coaching first base, right? Watching the pitcher he's going to pick off the runner at first base. He sat there for about 30 seconds, turned around, walked all the way back, got in the same position, dugout. Johnny, he did it about 10 times. It's like, this guy's amazing. No wonder. But one of the smartest things he did tell me, we were sitting in the dugout one day. He said, I don't remember who we were playing, spring training game, but a pretty good team, obviously. He goes, son, he called everybody son. He called me son. He said, baseball, he says, when you look in your dugout, you see maybe 2 or 3 cannons, right? Then you look over in that other dugout, and they got 5 or 6 cannons. He goes, you may win a battle, but you ain't winning no war. And I said, that is hey, there you go. So that's Frank's version of analytics, man. If you got more of the better players, you're going to win. There's no secret to this game.
Well, a lot of stories, I'm sure, about Hondo.
Oh, sure. Could go on and on, but probably one of the most beloved guys. Another funny story, real quick. Remember Frank Cashin was a long time great general manager for the Mets in Baltimore and all that. Frank always used to wear this bow tie, right?
Bow tie, yeah.
But he wore this bow tie. We were out spring training one time, and I was an active player. And Frank's over there shooting us pop-ups for the catchers. And somebody ran into a fence or something. And one of the other catchers, I remember who was, said, "Hey Frank, you're gonna get yourself fired, man. You get these guys hurt." And he goes, "Who's gonna fire me? That little son of a bitch with a bow tie and the big old grit." And we rolled, and we couldn't even finish our drill because it was so funny. We were laughing so much. What a wonderful man! It was just a wonderful man.
Absolutely. Yeah, great stories. We have another question. This one came in on Instagram, and it was from WW_Dana. And Dana's question is, who do you feel was the most underrated player you had coached on the Blue Jays? Thank you.
Oh, gosh, that's a good one. I coached so many good. First off, they're all good players who are in the big leagues. But gosh, Reed Johnson, Justin Smoke, they're both underrated. Colabello was underrated. He wasn't there that long. Marco Estrada, I think, was underrated. Brett Cecil. But you know what? I might have to go with Kevin Pillar. And maybe people might think, why? Because he played every day and all that. But, Kev did so many good things for us day after day, right? But I'm not so sure. People almost kind of took him for granted, He came out, he was a late round draft pick. Nobody ever expected him to make it. Even at the end, people are still writing him off, right? And it's just something he'd go out there and he'd contribute contribute to help you win a game. And he wasn't one of the big hammers in the lineup, but he would always do something good. But there were so many guys that were underrated. There's the guys I just mentioned. There's so many more. But I'll go with Pillar. I'm going to go with Pillar. He did my show. Them other guys did my show. I might go with them.
Yeah, Pillar, certainly one of those guys out there. Just a great person. And thank you for your question. Yeah, thank you for your question. I mean, each and every week we do the Ask Gibby segment. And if you want to ask Gibby a question and have a chance to receive that Budweiser gift pack, just send your questions to us at AskGibbyShow@gmail.com or use the hashtag AskGibby. So that'll be another Ask Gibby segment, and we'll do another one next week right here on the show. Well, let's wrap up another edition of the Gibby Show. And John, another good one in the books.
Yeah, well, we had a good one, really good one closing it out today. That's for dang sure.
The closer, the fireman.
That's right, homegrown fireman.
That's right. It was a good one. Go ahead.
No, there's a lot of big buildings downtown Toronto. They may need them more often than they think. Got to put out the fire.
Another exciting one. We got a long hot stove league season. We're going to cover everything right here on the Gibby Show. If you want to get a hold of John, just follow him everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. those hashtags, those usernames. John is at John Gibbons 05. So find him anywhere. My name is John Arezzi. You can follow me at John Arezzi. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Gibby Show. We will see you next week with another edition. Have a great week, everybody.